This is the story of how things slipped and how he got back in control. And if you've ever felt stuck in your own journey, you'll want to watch this till the end. Let's get into it. Ever feel like you had all the talent in the world, but somehow ended up stuck? Like people you once outperformed are now ahead of you? That's exactly where James found himself. But it wasn't always like this. Back in school, James was unstoppable, top of the class, standout in sports, always the one getting noticed. Everyone thought he was going to make it big, but now the same people who once looked up to him started passing him by. James started asking himself, what went wrong? Where did I lose my edge? Is it too late to get back on track? Too many talents, no direction. James had a lot of talent. He could write, code, and even play guitar. He was also on the college baseball team. Being multi-talented should have been an advantage, but it became a trap. Why? Because he couldn't settle on one goal. Every time he started something, he'd wonder if another path might be better and jump the ship midway. Have you ever opened Netflix, scrolled for 20 minutes, then turned it off and walked away? That's exactly what James was doing with his life. He never stayed with one thing long enough to truly grow it, to get better, or to make it matter. But this wasn't his biggest problem. There was something deeper he carried with him everywhere. He was trapped by past success. In school and college, James was always ahead of the curve. Teachers praised him, and his friends admired him. He got used to being recognized, and that became his whole identity. But then he stepped into the real world, and everything changed. Suddenly, there were tons of people just as talented as him, some even better. Yet, James still expected the same recognition he'd always gotten. But no one cared, no one clapped, and when the world didn't treat him the same way, it hit him hard. Disappointment, frustration, a quiet sense of being invisible. When you're living inside the echo chamber of past success, it's incredibly tough to build something new. So, what do you do when today feels small and yesterday feels bigger? You escape into the future. And that's exactly what James did. The daydream trap, living in the future. James constantly pictured his dream life. He'd talk about being a millionaire by 30, writing a best-selling book, owning a tech startup. But all of that was someday, not today. He wasn't taking action, he was just fantasizing. It's like buying gym shoes, watching fitness videos, and telling yourself you'll get fit soon without ever showing up at the gym. His brain was addicted to imagining success instead of doing the boring, messy work it takes to earn it. Dreams are only useful if they show up on your to-do list. Otherwise, they become a form of escape. James was using the future to run away from his disappointing present. And because of that, the present just kept getting worse. But, trapped in the echo chamber of past success and lost in daydreams of the future, he was also carrying a heavy, growing weight on his shoulders. The weight of expectations. Growing up, James heard it all the time. You'll do something big. You're the one we're counting on. You'll make us proud. At first, it made him feel special, but later, it turned into pressure. He found himself chasing achievements not for his own fulfillment, but to impress others. When you're living under someone else's hopes, you stop listening to your own heart, and soon, you start looking around at others and wondering, did I mess up? This external pressure trapped James in a cycle of waiting for permission. He had incredible ideas, sometimes at work, sometimes for a side project, but he kept waiting for someone to say, go ahead. He was afraid of taking the initiative, afraid of stepping out, and making mistakes. He was always hoping someone else would recognize his talent, give him a big opportunity, or make the first move. But here's the harsh truth. When you're waiting for someone else to give you a chance, you're handing them control of your life. And sometimes your own brain joins in and says, let's not rock the boat. In this process, your brain got trapped inside a cage. The cage of comfort zone. James avoided taking risks. He told himself he was being smart and practical, but the truth, he was scared to fail, scared to look stupid. So he played it safe, over and over. Day after day, he stayed in his comfort zone, and each day that comfort grew more and more expensive. It was literally eating away at his future. But here's the thing about comfort. It doesn't stay comfortable forever. Eventually, it starts feeling suffocating. And James realized that, but he still didn't move. Do you know why? The trap of endless preparation. James wanted everything to be perfect before taking any action. A perfect plan, perfect timing, perfect skill level. So, what did he do? He just kept reading, kept watching tutorials, kept planning, and kept waiting. Listen, preparation turns into procrastination the moment you start using it to avoid actually getting started. James was trying to eliminate all risk. But here's the thing. Without risk, there's zero progress and zero growth. The turning point. What James finally did. Things didn't change overnight for James. Real life rarely works that way. If you've ever felt stuck or wondered, how do I even start? This next part is for you. Here's what he did differently. He chose one thing. James had spent years bouncing between ideas, never committing, but he finally stopped trying to be everything. He made a radical decision. He chose one thing, and that decisive choice gave him momentum he'd been missing for years. It was the first step out of the trap. He stopped living in the past. James chose a fresh start. He stopped living by old labels and zeroed in on what he was building now. He acted in the present, enough waiting for the perfect week or some grand sign. James decided to get brutally simple, one useful action, every single day. This meant sending that cold email he'd been putting off. It meant actually completing an online course, not just starting it. It meant speaking up in team meetings, even when it felt uncomfortable. No fireworks, no dramatic breakthroughs, just consistent everyday effort that built unstoppable momentum. He defined success for himself. James stopped chasing definitions of success written by others. He'd been playing the game of what looked good on paper. But then, he asked himself a simple question. If social media vanished tomorrow, would I still be proud of the life I'm building? This powerful question became his clarity filter, guiding him to decisions that genuinely mattered to him. He started before he felt ready. James had been putting off launching a newsletter because he felt completely unqualified. Sound familiar? But one night, he just sat down, wrote a short issue, and sent it to 12 friends. It wasn't perfect, not even close, but it was real. And that first imperfect send taught him more than 3 months of planning ever could have. He finally understood. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. He embraced discomfort. James used to dodge uncomfortable conversations, especially at work. That familiar tightness in his chest, he'd avoid it at all costs. But now, he saw that feeling as a signal, a sign to lean in, not run away. He scheduled that tough one-on-one with his manager. He finally said what he used to keep bottled up. He stopped running from discomfort and started learning from it. James didn't need more talent. He didn't need better luck, or some magic mentor to fix things. What he actually needed was clarity, courage, and consistent action. That's the whole secret. So ask yourself, right now, what's one small step you can take today to move toward the life you actually want? Drop it in the comments, say it out loud, or write it down. Then, don't wait. Take that step, even if it feels insignificant, because those tiny actions are the foundation of massive change. If this video spoke to you, hit like, share it to someone who needs this, and subscribe so you don't miss our next video.